back. Welcome to another edition here at Mixtapes and Mistakes of the cover version series. This is one of those days where even I, as the master of ceremonies here, this whole thing, I learned something that I didn't know beforehand, and I'm going to talk about it briefly, in part about how mediums affect music, or really how mediums affect music consumerism, I guess. So, the song we're talking about in question today is Maxwell's cover of the Kate Bush song "This Woman's Work," and I'm gonna go into a fairly extensive historical discussion of where the song actually originally comes from. So to start with, if you listen to Maxwell's version, I was listening to it the other day. I had to walk away from it to really think about what I was going to say about this song. I've added it to another mixtape that I'm doing, which is songs that strike an emotional chord. And not all of them are gut punch songs. This Maxwell cut is a gut punch. And it's because of the fact he has this soaring vocal and is, Maxwell kind of just wrings all the emotion out of any song he does, which is why he's an amazing vocalist. But that's where I kind of want to begin my discussion of music video as a medium which changes the context of a song, and that's going to lead to actually the history behind the song. So you listen to Maxwell's version of this song. Like I said, it's gut wrenching. It tugs at your heartstrings really, really, like it really just grabs your heartstrings. Just like, you didn't need these until I'm done with them. That's what he does with it. The video, however, changes the complete context of the song. The video really talks about loss in general, and talks about how, and it makes a bigger deal, especially his arrangement of the song, makes a bigger deal of the chorus than it does the meat of the song. But it just talks about loss and not taking advantage of the time you have with people, because you never know when it's over. And that's an absolute fact. I love the fact that this song does that. And especially that his version is so poignant in making that statement. And he had a fairly good hit with this song, and then kind of Maxwell just kind of, where'd Maxwell go? That's kind of where it's been for him. Like, I know he's still putting out records, he's still doing stuff, but he's not the major chart topper, or really, even to be probably more succinct about it, he's probably not this is his biggest crossover hit, absolutely. But like I said, it's a great song. I often wondered for years, after I heard the original, who was gonna climb the mountaintop that is this song, because not a lot of people have the range that Kate has, because Kate has a really high octave, and I always thought maybe Sarah Brightman was going to take it on, but to hear Maxwell do it, I was like, ooh, okay, what, out of left field, didn't see it coming. This kind of brings me back to the history of the song. So it was originally written by Kate Bush. Now, the interesting thing about this song being written by Kate Bush is that she wrote it for a sequence in a John Hughes film. I'm a huge fan of John Hughes, aka Edmond Dantes. And he wrote it for his film, he wrote the film She's Having a Baby in 1988. And the way the song was originally written, and I had to find two sources for this. So I went to IMDb, because that's where I remember discovering the song. It's like I was saying in an earlier video, actually I think in Sharon's mixtape, where I talked about that I, as a music consumer, end up discovering songs in different contexts. I first heard this song in the soundtrack, actually in this movie. And so, according to IMDb, the emotional ballad that plays during the dramatic montage sequence is written by British artist Kate Bush. Kate Bush wrote the song specifically for the sequence, writing from the man, Jake is a character played by Kevin Bacon in this movie, Jake's viewpoint and matching the words to the visuals which had already been filmed and sent to her. She wrote the song on piano while watching the footage on a monitor. The song peaked in the UK charts multiple times since its release and has been featured in film and television for climactic scenes. So I checked and went over the song facts. Now, to backtrack for a second, one of the first people, and I often wonder, this is something I haven't looked up because film is not something that I do on my channel. I've often wondered if Cameron Crowe, who's a stickler and a big fan of putting modern songs in his movies or putting songs from the time that he's working in period pieces in his movies and being authentic about it. And I know that John Hughes wrote a lot of his movies to music. He'd be like 16 Candles is almost written exclusively on, or it was inspired by the music of the time. So he was listening to a lot of college radio at the time. That's not me saying that. There's a whole documentary on his writing process and what he did. So knowing that, to me coming to this situation, I was like, well, was this something that he found and included in the film? It turns out he was kind of a Kate Bush fan and was like, no, I want her to write the song. So he sends her the footage and she writes the sequence. It first appeared on the movie soundtrack, according to Songfacts, and then was included in Bush's 1989 album, The Sensual World. Maxwell then covers it in 2001, and it peaks at 56 on the Hot 100. And so Bush she did an article with interview with NME, and she says, quote, "It was written for the John Hughes film. She's having a baby. Really like comedy about this young guy who gets married, very much a kid. His wife is pregnant, and it's all right until they get to the hospital and the baby's in the breech position," unquote. And so for a long time, my context for this song, I always equated it, and this is another one I have to kind of look up because I'm not sure of the context of it. Because Lightning Crashes has always felt to me about that situation, but it's based on the video of that song, which I'm going to include all three of these songs in the description box for context. But the video has always stuck with me as that's what the song is about. It may or may not be what that song is about, but that was what it was. And so then you come to Maxwell's single, and his video changes the entire context of the song. And so it makes it, to Maxwell's credit and to the video director's credit, I think changing the visual context of the song, I think made it more accessible to more people. I think more people will end up seeing it as a song about general loss versus a song about a specific situation. That being said, expanding the context of the song and thus making it more accessible, I think has a lot larger emotional resonance. And I think that's why Maxwell's song, or Maxwell's cover of it, is so gut-wrenching, because it's more relatable to more people. And in that way, I think it's a great cover, because anytime and this is what's indicative between a good cover song and a great cover song, is that when you take a song and you make it your own, but it doesn't sound like you're just trying to hit the points that other people hit, or you're trying to mimic the original artist. It's when you take the song and you just do what you do on it. Like you do regular Maxwell stuff. Like you go listen to the record this is on, and it's Maxwell's that guy. He's soaring vocals and emotional resonance, and really getting you to feel emotionally what he's talking about. And I'm impressed that he took that same approach to someone else's work, and that's what really kind of it separates him as an artist to me, because not all artists can come in and just take somebody else's work and A, not butcher it, but B, turn it into something that's kind of its own thing. So that's this week. That's this episode of Mixtapes and Mistakes, the cover version series. If you like this series, keep like, share, subscribe. If you have any ideas for cover songs I may have missed, hit me in the comment section of this video, and we'll do another one of these. We'll keep searching for cover songs, good, bad, or indifferent, and we'll talk about it. Thanks. Peace and Afro Grease.